continuing on with preparation, as I've gone through the planetary hours, I will also deal with the mechanical hours and indeed the zodiac hours, which are also mechanical. Now, generally, zodiac hours are based on the planet and the planetary hours, and I think this would be the best solution for when you are planning to have a ritual, and indeed for preparation. Later I will explain what I mean by that. But there are also mechanical zodiac hours and mechanical planetary hours, but these are of far lesser importance than the zodiac hours based on planets and the planet hours themselves, which are calculated, from sunrise to sunset. Though there is one mechanical zodiac hour which may come into effect depending on the timing that you have your ritual. Now, when a Scorpio and a Mars hour coincide, it becomes a Plutonic hour. No, that is being of Pluto, but this is a mechanical thing. And this happens on 7 p.m. on a Wednesday. So 7 o'clock Wednesday night. But this is mechanical. It is nothing to do with what I call the planetary hours, which I discussed earlier. Now with Pluto, you had what happens is it governs transformation. But as I said, the mechanical hours are of a lesser importance than the planetary hours, which I discussed in the previous clip. So, from this clip and the previous clips I've done, I believe you can make a plan for when you want to conduct a ritual. In the earlier clip, I gave specific dates and the worlds they relate to. But in order for this ritual to be completed, we have to prepare a talisman. Now, a talisman is usually just a bit of paper and it has certain words on it. Its significance comes from the number of squares in each row. With the talisman I made, it's 5 letters by 5 letters, and so there's 5 words going from left to right and 5 words going from up to down. Now, the talisman is based on the sacred magic of Abramelin, which deals with talismans and is based on them. And it's also in relation to planetary squares. So 5 by 5 represents Mars. For Mars there actually is a planetary talisman, but I do not believe this should be used, because the purpose of a planetary talisman is to make a signal of a particular angel or a particular demon. So you would be putting everything upon one entity. Now, with the magic of Abraham Merlin, in relation to this sort of ritual, you will find it covers or is executed by both angels and demons. So I would say we put the words on one side and leave the other side blank. So essentially this is an open contract for either angels or demons to enact upon it. Now, depending on the word you use, the colours will be different. In absolute, it'll be orange and violet. Now, the orange represents Gebura and the violet represents hot. So you would have a violet background of a talisman, but the borders, separated lines and lettering would be in orange. With Bria, Gebura is represented by the colour red and Hod is represented by the colour orange. As with Hod, it again is the background, an orange background, yet the borders, separating lines and lettering will be done in red. With Yetzirah, the Gebura aspect is scarlet and the Hod aspect is brick red. And the same applies there. The brick red would be the background and the scarlet would be the borders, separating lines and letters. With Assia, the Gebura aspect is red flecked black and the Hod background would be yellowish black flecked white. With writing up a talisman, we look at the planetary aspects of both the day and the hour. So, even though it is possible to write up a talisman on, say, a Wednesday during a Mars hour, you will find yourself pretty much pushed for time. So I believe probably the best time to write up a talisman, or indeed talismans, because you would want more than one, would be on a Tuesday during a Mars hour. Tuesday comes under the category of Mars, if you like. So Tuesday comes under Mars and the hour will also come under Mars. This will represent strong, pushing, judgmental power. And as with the Wednesday, which comes under Mercury for the ritual, it will be to convey a message done under a Mars hour, which again enforces judgment. So that is what I would recommend. But we have to look at which world would be best for you if you wish to pursue this in a practical Kabbalah way. Generally, the most used world for magic is Bria, and in this case, the Gebura aspect, or the Mars aspect, will be coloured red, and the Hod aspect, or the Mercury aspect, would be orange. So when you're making your talismans, you would use, say, a red texture on something with an orange background. Now, I do know that it is possible to get post-it notes in the orange colour. So a red texture can be used on these post-it notes to make the talisman. That would be the easiest thing to do because the colours are more common than, say, the likes of the other worlds. Although it is possible when you look at absolute that orange on violet would be a reasonable thing to do, to work with. Remember, you can only work with what you can get your hands on. But as for Yetzirah with scarlet on brick red, yeah, it may be possible, but then again it may not be. And as for Assia, red flecked with black on a yellowish black flecked with white, you would have to spend some serious time getting more than one talisman, because these things are not commonly available. Now, I don't know what position you are in, whether you can afford to do all these sorts of things, whether you can order red or yellowish black flecked with white, or brick red post-it notes or posters or whatever. So we'd have to look at what is the most basic talisman you can get your hands on. Now, with a lot of people, they could, depending on their graphics program, and that's even if they have a computer, make up these colours and a talisman on their computer and simply make printouts. But then again, that may not be realistic. It may be good to do, but may not be realistic for mass distribution. So if you can get your hands on, say, white paper as you use at a printer, and write up the talismans by hand with a red texture, that may be acceptable. I believe the positioning of these talismans is more important than whether you have a fancy writing style. All you have to remember is that the talismans have to be facing east. And if you're going to bury them on beaches, riverbanks, etc., when they are upright, or when you lay them down, and if you raise them up, they would be facing east. So let's say it's of equal importance. Now, as to the actual ritual regarding the writing of talismans, as I said, Tuesday with a Mars hour. Now, whether you wish to have a type of ceremony with it, it would be preferable, but you have to decide which world you are going to be using. I would say Bria would be the best for you if you haven't had much experience in Kabbalah. Just have a couple of red candles burning and some Kabbalah type incense. And for Gabura, it is either tobacco or a spicy type incense, much like chili, but just generally hot and spicy. If you have the candles and the incense all lit up, and you're doing this facing east, this is important, you should be okay. But beforehand, I would recommend purifying a space if you are going to do this within your house, or indeed anywhere which is for your exclusive use or even shared use. If you have the ability to cleanse this area with frankincense. Now, you may choose to do this in your backyard. That's up to you. But it has to be, you have to make a symbolic gesture that you are cleansing the area in which you are going to work. So I'll leave that to you for the time being.